22%. Now, that's not just some random statistic we pulled out of thin air. Right now, that number represents a looming, automatic cut to your benefits. And the scary part? It's mathematically hardwired right into our system if nothing changes. Welcome to The Explainer. I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening under the hood, and I promise to give it to you straight. No spin, no fluff, just the cold, hard facts. Which brings us to a really critical question. How much of your monthly check is actually, truly guaranteed? You see, this past week dropped two massive updates on Social Security. We're talking hidden costs and moving deadlines that literally affect every single person cashing a check. And the kicker? Most people haven't heard a peep about this from the evening news or even from the Social Security Administration itself. But listen, your financial security absolutely depends on knowing exactly how secure your income truly is. So, today we're looking at Social Security's tale of two updates, the 2032 depletion and the 2027 cost of living adjustment, or COLA for short. Okay, let's just dive right into this. My goal here is to set a reassuring pace and really demystify the noise for you. We're going to break down the math, the new projections, and most importantly, the direct impact on your wallet, completely free of the usual fear-mongering you see online. Let's get to it. Section 1. The new 2032 deadline. This is a shifting clock that represents a very real macro threat. So every single year, the Treasury Department and the SSA publish the Trustees Report. Think of it as the official scorecard for the financial health of Social Security. Well, the new report just dropped on June 9th, and guys, the headline number moved. Last year, the Primary Retirement Fund, the OASI Trust Fund, was projected to run out of reserves in the first quarter of 2033. But this year's report? It moved forward to the fourth quarter of 2022. That is an entire quarter earlier. While it might sound like a minor shift, this marks the second consecutive year the depletion clock has ticked in the wrong direction. Now, you might be wondering, why exactly did the timeline shift? Well, the trustees' own report points straight to the one big beautiful bill that was signed into law back in 2025. This legislation basically reduced the amount of income tax that Social Security beneficiaries have to pay on their benefits. And hey, in the short term, that's absolutely fantastic news, right? Retirees get to keep more of their hard-earned money. But mathematically speaking, every action has a reaction. Reduced taxes on benefits means, well, there's less revenue flowing back into the system to keep it topped up. And that directly accelerates our timeline to that 2032 depletion date. But let's hit pause for a second and define what depletion actually means, because this is where the mainstream news almost always gets it wrong. Trust fund depletion does not mean Social Security is going away or going completely bankrupt. Even when the reserves run dry, the system is still going to collect payroll taxes from working Americans. And those incoming taxes alone, they're projected to cover about 78% of the benefits owed. So the absolute crucial point here is this. We are talking about a reduction, not a total elimination. Section 2, the real 2032 impact, or what I like to call the math of inaction. Let's look at exactly what a 22% cut actually looks like if Congress just sits on their hands. So if Congress fails to act, an automatic 22% cut hits every single recipient, regardless of your age or your health. Let's put some real numbers to this. If you receive the current average benefit of $2,810 a month, a 22% cut slashes $458 from your check every single month. If you're getting $1,500, you lose $330. And if your benefit is around $2,500, that's $550 less in your pocket. This isn't just some abstract theory about someone else. This is the projected mathematical reality for every current recipient. And it's sitting less than 7 years away. However, before anyone hits the panic button, it is absolutely vital to remember this specific quote. Nothing changes today, tomorrow, or next year. The current benefits system is fully funded through 2032 under current law. I really want to ground you with this fact. There is no emergency right now. You do not need to panic today. What you do need is this accurate information. That way, when you hear politicians debating Social Security reform over the next few years, you understand the exact mathematical stakes of their inaction. All right, Section 3, the 2027 COLA projections. This is our short clock. On June 13th, the Bureau of Labor Statistics dropped new inflation data for May. Now, the 2026 adjustment was 2.8%. But for 2027, oh boy, the estimates have jumped significantly. The Senior Citizens Week is projecting 3.8%, while independent analyst Mary Johnson projects it could hit as high as 4.7%. So why the massive spike? Well, the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners, the CPIW, is running at 4.4% year over year. That's literally the highest we've seen in 3 years, and it's being driven sharply by climbing food prices and surging energy costs thanks to, ongoing geopolitical pressures. Translating this into real dollars, a 4.7% COLA sounds like fantastic news, right? And hey, on paper, it really is. It could add $98 to the average monthly benefit, which is nearly double the increase we just saw in 2026. To put that into perspective, for a $2,500 benefit, it would mean an extra $117 a month. For a $1,500 benefit, you're looking at a $70 boost.
Section 4. The Purchasing Power Trap. This is the hidden cost of those bigger checks.
Now, this comparison right here is probably the most vital thing to understand about your COLA. A higher COLA basically means inflation is rising faster than it was before. Let's look back at 2026. You got a 2.8% COLA, which bumped the average check up by $56. But based on Mary Johnson's estimates using current inflation levels, it actually cost you $94 more per month just to maintain the exact same purchasing power you had a year prior. Think about that. Your check went up $56, but your daily living costs went up $94. That gap right there, that's what's quietly shrinking your daily purchasing power. And the stakes are incredibly high here. According to a brand new survey from the Senior Citizens League, 44% of retirees, we're talking nearly 25 million Americans here, now depend on Social Security for 100% of their income. Zero safety net, and that number is up from 39% just last year. When things like groceries, energy, and medical care are rising faster than the COLA adjustment, it just leaves the most vulnerable Americans falling further and further behind, despite technically getting a quote-unquote raise. Section 5. Your next steps. It is all about preparation over panic. All right, let's get into your practical takeaways from this explainer. First off, remember that the 2027 COLA is just a projection right now. You need to wait for the final official data in October, because that's calculated strictly by tracking inflation across July, August, and September. If energy prices stabilize, the COLA might actually come in lower. Second, really understand those 2032 stakes so you can properly evaluate political proposals over the next 7 years. And finally, please do not make any immediate panic-based claiming decisions. Claiming early locks in a lower benefit for life, right? While waiting until 70 gives you a higher payment, but it leaves more of your future income dependent on Congress getting their act together before 2032. You've got to weigh those trade-offs rationally based on your own health and your other income streams. The window for gradual reform is now officially under 7 years, folks. And the squeeze on your daily purchasing power, that's happening right now as we speak. So with all these mathematical realities laid out, how will you adapt your retirement strategy before 2032 hits? It's a big question, and it demands an answer, not out of fear, mind you, but out of focused, level-headed preparation. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep tracking the facts, stay proactive, and I'll see you next time.